What do you think NBC sees in you that have you headline to it or shows?
I think NBC just recognized, talent. You know what I mean? It's a boxing show. They recognize in boxing talent. I think I have a intricate story, trailing behind me. You know what I mean? But like I tell everybody, that prison stint and stuff like that, it doesn't define who I am as a person. So it's going to continue, God willing, to trail behind me instead of overshadowing who I am.
And when you were in that prison stint, did you ever dream that you would end up as a boxer like this?
Oh yeah, I was 9-0 when I went to prison. So when the day I got sentenced, April 2002, the judge sentenced me to 10 years. I did some quick calculations, and before I even walked out the courtroom, I had a smile on my face, and I said, I'm not going to let this situation, win. And I'm going to come home, and I'm going to go on a mission to become heavyweight champion of the world. And as far-fetched as it appeared to be 12 years ago, now it's realistic. It has become realistic through hard work and dedication, and so I just remain on that mission.
And 10 years is a long time. So how much of a day-by-day challenge? 8.5.
8.5, day for day. 8.5.
How much
From
of a challenge
August
is that to
22nd to December 1st, March 1st, 2010. From August 2001 to March 2010, day for day. 8.5.
Just say that you were going to be world champion when you got out, but did you ever doubt yourself when you were in prison? Or?
No, I didn't doubt myself, but I had apprehensions, you know what I mean? Because I've seen a lot of great fighters that I looked up to and that I admired go past their deadline. So I wondered, was this something that was hereditary with boxers, that they wanted to continue when they don't have it anymore? And so I worried about that, But the irony of this fight with Steve Cunningham is he was the very first person I sparred when I came home. And he was the measuring stick that me and my trainer Moses used to say, is this dream realistic or should you just hang it up? Because when I was in prison, I went to carpentry school for 2.5 years. I got a law degree, paralegal degree, but I did what I needed to do. I said, well, if they don't hire me in the office, I'll go work with my hands. So I learned carpentry, so my dreams were realistic, but I did have backup plans, and Steve was my measuring stick. And I kid you not, when I left Schuler's from sparring with him, I was actually working here. Johan allowed me to work here when I first came home. I worked here for 6 months from the halfway house. I went right in that bathroom, man, and cried because I was just elated and overwhelmed that my dream was real, that this is realistic. I really can do this by using him as a measuring stick.
Because you had success sparring?
Because I had good success with him. I held back so much. I knew what I could do. I knew what I couldn't do. And I just was trying to enjoy myself because in addition to that, they were paying me. So, and I needed the money,
Right.
So, and I held back a lot. I gave a lot. And I'm sure, he wasn't trying to kill me either, but, that was a good experience for me.
Where was the halfway house at?
The Burns?
Yeah, the Burns. That was it, the Burns. I remember that name, yeah.
Over here in Philly. I used his address. To come home to so that I could go to a halfway house in Philly, so that I could work in a gym, because there was just absolutely nowhere else for me to go where I could have been allowed to work in a gym the way that Johan allowed me to do it.
And what do you expect to see against Steve next year?
He's gonna box. Steve, he's been in championship fights, He's been in bigger fights than this right here. So, I don't expect no more than what I've seen him do at his very best, And even if he brung his very best 4 or 5 years ago, that's not enough to beat Amir Mansour, So I'm not worried, at all. I'm going to bring my A game to the table. One thing that I do, I don't make no excuses on fight day. Whether I'm sick, hurt, injured, I'm going to still give it all I got. And when I walk out, I ain't making no excuses. So you're going to see my A game.
When you last sparred Steve Cunningham, he was still a cruiserweight.
I'm still a cruiserweight.
Have you seen any transitions in his game as becoming a heavyweight?
No. I thought he was a far better cruiserweight than he's obviously been at heavyweight division. I think he is, obviously he's better at cruiserweight than heavyweight, and This is with the big boys right here, and you know, once you get into a certain level of in the ring with me, once you go to a certain point with me, you know, you got to be willing to stare death in the face, man, and keep on going, you know. And I don't think that Steve Cunningham has that in him.
Okay. How do you see age playing a factor in this fight?
Nothing. Nothing. You're gonna see me being the faster fighter. You're gonna see me being, you know, the stronger fighter. It's nothing. And anyway, as far as fighters are concerned, he's an old man compared to me. I'm a young fighter. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to fighting, I'm a young guy. You know, I still have room to grow. You still haven't seen my best. We've seen his best. He doesn't have any room to grow. He's not going to do anything different. I don't care what he trained on, what he practiced on. You're going to see the same Steve Cunningham that you've been seeing.
What's it like preparing for fights at Dover Downs to now fighting in the heart of North Philadelphia?
Let me tell you something, man. I locked in a 10 by 10 foot cell with a crazy guy with serving a life sentence with little ice picks. You understand what I'm saying? And willing to risk my life, and he's willing to risk his life. Those are the type of fights I've been in. This is child's play. You know, the lights, the camera, all that. You know, I ran miles and miles and miles in prison. I've laid in a prison cell at night, all night long, dreaming of these days. So this is, I'm just going through the motions, man. This doesn't faze me, you know? Doesn't faze me at all. Now, when I look at my bank account one day and I see a whole bunch of zeros, that'll faze me. But this is just a job. This is my job. This is what I practice to do. This is what I dreamed of doing. So I can't let this be a factor in the ring.
Why do they have ice picks in your cell?
Man, you got ice picks in every cell.
What's an ice pick?
You want to be safe. An ice pick, it's actually a long piece of fence that's straightened out and sharpened on the cement. They call them bone crushers because they go straight through skin and straight through bone.
So you guys made them yourself?
Yeah, you had to have them. You know? I mean, I didn't walk around jail like, oh, I'm a big bad guy. I was very humble. I was very much respected. In 8.5 years, I got into like 3 fights, you know. And mind you, I'm with 5,000 other guys that, you know, don't have a care in the world, you know. So you know, everybody had, you know, knives. Everybody.
Who are some of the people? You mentioned Joe Hands and Moses, who've been instrumental. Who are some of the people, fighters, who you emulate or who have inspired you?
Well, when I first studied boxing, I studied, because I was southpaw, I studied Panera Whitaker, I studied Marvin Hagler. So a lot of times guys see me sparring and moving, and man, you don't move like no heavyweight, because learning this sport, I emulated the lighter guys, you know, and I really haven't got a chance to show those type of skills in the fight yet, you know, but, you know, maybe against Steve you'll see them, but I looked up to a lot of the lighter fighters, and of course, you know, only southpaw heavyweight champ Michael Moore, looked up to him a lot, but more so when he was in the light heavyweight division.
What about Ernie Shavers?
Hey man, you already know that was lights out, you know, that was hard-hitting guy, you know. But, you know, as time will tell, you know, you got to have more than just a punching power, you know. And I know a lot of people are just, you know, thinking I'm going to rely on my power with this guy, you know, but I'm going to rely on my speed, my accuracy, and my skills as well.
Got Ernie Shavers' haircut.
Yeah.
Where do you rate your power in the heavyweight division?
At the top.
Anybody
Right now?
anybody around you?
No.
Nobody?
No.
Deontay Wilder?
No.
Klitschko?
I mean, Deontay Wilder is a big guy. He's a big young guy, and at that age, if you punch somebody with all your might and they don't know how to get it out of the way, you're supposed to knock them out, you know? If you hit me as hard as you can and I'm standing here, you have the power to, you know, possess the power to knock me out. I don't think Deontay Wilder hits as hard as I do. I mean, you got some knockouts where you knock a guy out and they fumble around a little bit and they get up and go. But you got some of my knockouts where they left in the stretcher. You know, they don't do the 10 count. They wave the medics in and the oxygen masks and stuff like that. You know, so I think my knockouts overshadow a lot of the recent knockouts in the heavyweight division.
Okay.
What would a win against Steve do for your career?
I don't know. I'm hoping that it does a lot, you know. I choose to fight guys that if I beat them, I'm going to go further. I don't want to fight nobody and I'm ranked 12 or 10 and then I fight them and I'm still ranked 12 or 10. You know, that's a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? I'm 41 years old. I ain't got no time to play. I ain't got no time to waste people money. I ain't got no time to waste my time or anybody else's time. Let's get this going, you know? Let's get it going.
You did mention that if you won this fight, you wanted to put your hat in the ring for the winner between Arreola and Stavern.
Arreola and Stavern, yeah. Beating this guy up, I don't think any other heavyweight can campaign for that fight as much as me.
Guess that, right?
Yeah. Wilder ain't fought nobody yet.
I was gonna say, would you turn down a fight with Glasgow?
No. I don't think that they would put Glasgow in there with him. I don't think they would put him in there with him. And if they did, I would be happy. But you know, if I fight a Glasgow, I want the winner to get a championship fight or some more zeros behind the dollar signs. You know what I'm saying?
Would you go to Europe to do it?
I will go to Mexico. I will go to Baghdad. I will go to Afghanistan. I will go anywhere. You know.
So it seems if you and Glasgow do fight, that probably would be a #1 contender for the IBF title. Considering you're both going to be ranked pretty high.
If they put me in there with Godzilla and tell me if I beat Godzilla, I'm going to be #1 contender for the IBF title, Godzilla is going down.
You know the IBF champion is Vladimir Klitschko, so
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I think we've seen his best already. You know, thank God I didn't have 200, 300 amateur fights, so I still can talk fairly decent. I still have my reflexes. I think we've seen the best out of Vladimir and Vitaly and all those guys. I think we've seen their best. You haven't seen my best yet, and I don't think that my best can beat their declining status. I don't think that they can take what I got to bring to the table. And these guys are multimillionaires. They ain't ready to go to the depths of hell, you know, fighting a guy like me. They multimillionaires. After the 6th or 7th round, if it went that far, you can't breathe no more. You can't see. You bleed and you hurt. And I'm still coming at you looking like a crazed maniac. You're going to start thinking about those millions you got that you want to spend. You're going to start thinking about that mansion you got that you want to spend. You're going to start thinking about all the hard work you already put in. Your life just ain't worth it anymore. Me, I ain't got nothing to lose. You understand?
Speaking of that hunger, you know, Steve Cunningham, he's from similar situations where he hasn't really. He's 2-time world champion, but he hasn't really, you know, banked a lot of money in the process. So, I mean,
Steve had his chance. You know, he's fought for world titles. He's won world titles. If you don't market yourself properly as a world champion, that's nobody to blame but you. You know, he already had his chance. This isn't his biggest fight. You understand what I'm saying? So, whatever occasion he rises to, whatever he does, whatever he brings to the table is just not going to be enough to defeat me. Doesn't matter what he got on the line, what he wants to win, or what he wants to do. You had your chance. You know, you already been there for your chances. Against Adamic, you had chances. You know, against other heavyweights, you had your chances. You're not going to capitalize off that Amir. I haven't had my chance yet. You know, I'm on my mission. You know, I'm not going to let nobody that done had several chances already to become successful in this sport take it away from me.
So, any prediction for the fight? What round it's going to end in?
No. I just feel as though I don't think he's going to last. And if he does, you might see a damaged guy. You know, I mean, I'm serious, man. I just hope to God that he's okay after this fight, that he can fight another day or walk and talk another day, seriously. If he goes a distance with me, it's going to be brutal. Going to be brutal.
As far as your training camp, can you speak to the difference from when you first announced the fight to coming to the fight being 2 weeks away?
Well, my training camp is going great, you know, and I've trained hard for this fight. I mean, we could fight tomorrow. I'm good. I'm good and ready, you know. My training camp is good. There's nothing that I feel differently. You know, I'm still the same person. You know, I'm still gonna go into this fight with my A game and give it all I got. And I know that my A game is going to be better than his B, C, or D game.
I guess what I meant was, at what point did it transition from more physical preparation to now the game plan?
Well, the game plan was day one. You know, the game plan was day one. You know, I know as long as I got a strong 10 in me, a very strong 10 in me, a very brutal 10 in me, there's not a heavyweight on this planet that can go the distance. They just not ready to go to hell, man. They're not ready to go to hell and back, you know, and I hate to sound, you know, so ruthless sometimes. You know, if y'all was at the last press conference, you know I got a heart, you know I'm an emotional person, you know what I'm saying? I'm not a killer, you know, I'm only a killer in the ring, you know, you know, the preparation has always been the same, man. Get in great shape, be fast, be strong, you know, and do what you got to do.
You always train here?
I've trained at Joe Hand's gyms since 1997. Ever since I became a pro, I started off training in Delaware. We came to Philly, going to different gyms. I saw this gym, I saw my trainer Moses, and I said, that's who I wanted to be my trainer, and this is the gym I want to train in. And wherever Joe Hand switched his gym to, that's where I came to. I mean, look, it's very clean, man. It smells good. It's a good atmosphere, and you know, like Joe Hand, he's always been there for me. I never signed with him from '97 up until now. We never really talked about signing a deal up until recently, you know. But he has always been there for me. You know what I mean? When I came home after 8.5 years, he allowed me to use this facility as a job, and a lot of other gyms was like, no, you know, we don't want that type of attention, you know. And he was like, come on, you know. And of course, peace and blessings, you know, be upon me. Rest in peace. Pete also, you know, Pete was a great friend of mine too, and you know, he welcomed me in as well.
So you still live in Delaware though, right?
Yeah, I live in Delaware.
How far is the drive?
40 minutes, 45 minutes.
Can you tell us about your training partner in the ring?
That's Joel Godfrey. He's from Tennessee. He just fought in Cleveland, Ohio. They brought him in. They thought that Don King's fighter that was 21-1. What was his name?
He was I forgot, Marcus something, man. He's from Brazil. He was 23-1, 22 knockouts. Yeah, I stopped him. I ain't stopped him, but I beat the brakes off him.
He upset him. Don King tried to snatch him up. But the crazy part is, he saw Danny Davis. He said, Danny, look, I'm here. I don't have no trainer. Can you work my corner? Danny said, cool, I'll work your corner. They connected. He upset the kid. So Danny was like, look, I got a perfect guy. He's Steve's size. He has Steve's style, his speed. He come in and spar with you. We flew him down to Atlanta, and he's been with us ever since. He came back up with me, no complaints, no nothing. He's away from his family, and he's like, look, you know, I'm here to the end, man. Let's get this win. So, you know, and he's a great guy too, a great fighter and a great guy.
Oh, what's it been like training with Amir?
Oh, it's been great, man. It's just hungry. It's that silverback mentality. I mean, everybody know how a silverback act in the wild, and that's what you got right here. So Steve Cunningham, I really don't see going past 6 or 7 rounds. You know, I mean, the boy's strong, the boy's fast, and that's all you need to know right now. You're going to see the rest on the 4th. And I want to thank Joanne, I want to thank Moses, I want to thank Danny, I want to thank Amir, all the coaches and staff for getting me on the team, you know. It's been nothing but love, and I'm happy, man. I'm happy for Amir as well, you know. It's fun time. All the hard work pays off in the gym. Once you get in the ring, it's all easy work. It's all easy work.
No pain, no gain.
That's it.
And that's always true. Always.
How would you rate yourself versus the fight you had in December versus you today?
I was about 60% my last fight, you know. I don't like complaining, especially to him, because we'll end up arguing, you know. And after I fought Harris, I had a fracture in my wrist. And believe it or not, the day that I fought Price, I could not do a push-up. Almost failed the physical when the doctor asked me to do a push-up, but I figured out how to do it. If I did it on my fist, I could do it. But if I did it flat, I couldn't do it. So that's how much power I really had in that right hand, man. And then both hands were hurt, and I couldn't even work the pads even after a month after the fight with Price. So I took off. They gave me a nice rest, put some braces and stuff on my wrists and my hands, and you know, this is really the first fight that I've been injury-free, probably my whole career. You know, and as far as the conditioning, it's just crazy. I mean, I got a very strong 10 rounds in me. Very strong 10 in me.
How's the wrist now? Is it 100%?
It's great. It's great. It's great. No.
Did the pressure come in the Harris fight or?
It came in during the Harris fight, yeah. During the Harris fight. And I never let it heal. When I fought Harris, I was 208 pounds. I went from 229 to 208 in about 9 days. I was in the emergency room about 6 days before we fought. We really shouldn't have took that fight, but, you know, the fighter in me, you know what I'm saying? And I just believe in my ability, and it's something about when that bell rings, man. You know what I mean? That takes over. I mean, you might. I'm telling. I kid you not. I don't hear the crowd. I don't hear anything. Everything is absolutely silent the whole time I'm fighting. I cannot hear anything. You know. But when the bell rings and I go back to my corner, I can hear them talking. Once the bell ring, boom! I'm like in the time zone. Everything is silent, like completely silent. It's crazy. Like I don't know what it is, but I knew if I could go into that zone, I could beat them. Even though I was, you know, I wasn't up to the best of, you know, my physical. You know, but I got into that zone and we went 12 rounds. It killed me, but you know, and I didn't give myself a chance to, you know, recuperate after that fight. You know, I didn't give myself a chance. I went right back to training.
How come?
Well, Chaz Witherspoon, he's always been there for me. He's one of the guys that I would never fight. And he had a fight coming up. He called me for some work like a week after the Harris fight, and I couldn't tell him no, you know, because he's worked with me every single fight, you know. And he got call me, be like, you know what? All right, don't worry about it. Just give me the time and date. You know what I mean? So I couldn't tell him no. When this fight got canceled, boom, I had to get ready for Price, you know. So physically and everything, I wasn't there, but I'm there now. No, and you know, no excuses. Even had I lost the Price fight, I wouldn't have made no excuses.
Can you take the rest now?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right.
I think that's it.
If I'm tired now, I ain't ready to fight, brother. That little workout.